Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. And be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. At this point, it feels like anything that I have to say is probably just piling on. But Saturday's loss really was a double gut punch. Because your historically bad defense played well enough to win. But your O-line was historically bad against Texas A&M, and you could do nothing offensively. Always run through some of my observations, so we'll get to them. I want to start, though, with kudos to the defense. Because, I'm at the front of the list, along with pretty much everybody else, in criticizing this defense this year. In criticizing Bo Pelini, at times criticizing the effort, which has been obvious and lacking, and guys have disappeared, and guys that had great expectations, like Jacoby Stevens with the 7, and Damone Clark wearing 18. And these guys have been ghosts. They've been non-existent. Well, on Saturday, LSU had a plan. They executed it almost to perfection, with the exception of 2 long runs. And I thought defensively they were magnificent. Derek Stingley completely eliminated one half of the field. I thought it was a really nice day by Cordell Flott. He had a PI thrown against him, which was totally bogus in the first quarter. But I thought when you can limit Texas A&M 200 yards below their season average, 267, you hold the team that was number 1 in the SEC in third down conversions to just 2 of 16 on third down. Kellen Mond went 11 of 34 for 105 yards. Y'all, that is some Les Miles era type-ish. 11 of 34 for 105 yards. And basically, half of the rushing yards you allowed came on 2 plays. You allowed 160 rushing yards. Almost 80 of them came on 2 plays. You had 7 tackles for loss, 11 passes defended. It was a magnificent day for the defense. Congrats, kudos. Much maligned. We have crushed you at every turn, and rightfully so, but this coaching staff had a plan. The players bought in, executed it, and they were good enough to win on Saturday. The defense was good enough to win on Saturday. The flip side of that is the offense was atrocious. You made Texas A&M's defensive front look like the steel curtain because LSU's offensive line is that bad. And I'm going to ultimately, the criticism has to start and stop with the coaches. Because one of 2 things happened. You have 13 scholarship offensive linemen on this roster. You have 13 guys that were 4 and 5 stars when you signed them. So one of 2 things happened. Either you missed on your evaluation of these players, or you can't develop them at all. Because the fact that that's the best you got when former 5-star Cardell Thomas can't get on the field, and Anthony Bradford, who Ed Orgeron himself said this offseason might be our best offensive lineman, can't get on the field. And you were excited to have Dare Rosenthal back, but he's a turnstile at left tackle. And Austin Deculus has been starting for 4 years, and he was a matador at right tackle. I don't know how you can look at this and do anything other than blame coaches for either evaluation or their inability to develop anybody to get some of this depth on the field, because if that's the best you have, that's atrocious, and it is going to be really bad this weekend when that team comes in. I've heard a lot of people criticize play calling, game plan, quarterbacks. How in the hell did you even know what the game plan was? Every time one of the quarterbacks, Finley or Johnson, dropped back, they were running for their damn life. The 2 interceptions Finley threw, go back and watch him. He's hit on both throws as he's throwing the football. And by the way, well, you got to get the ball more to Avery Gilbert. Both interceptions, the ball was intended for Avery Gilbert. It wasn't like they weren't trying. I asked Ed Orgeron today, 25, Musso. I asked Ed Orgeron, I said, when you watch the film back, how did you grade the quarterbacks? And did you notice anything differently on film maybe that didn't appear real time?
Well, the quarterbacks were under duress. I mean, so, I can't put anything on those young quarterbacks. I thought they did the best that they could. Now, they made some mistakes. They made some misreads. But when there's free blitzes and they're attacking them all and the young freshman quarterback, I got to put all the blame on. We got to have a better scheme, number one.
Better scheme, better blocking. I'm not saying the quarterbacks were infallible. I'm not saying they were great or even good. But how could you tell? The offensive line allowed 3 sacks, 9 quarterback hurries, 5 tackles for loss, and 8 pass deflections. I could read it slower for you, but I might vomit if I do. And the 3 sacks, the only reason that isn't 13 is because of Max Johnson's ability to escape and TJ Finley being a giant and not going down every time he got hit. And for anybody who says, man, Miles Brennan would have been toast. He's the least mobile of the 3. He would have gotten killed in this ball game. Thank God Brennan didn't play. A couple of other things. The second quarter sequence was just massively critical. Defense comes up with a great play. A&M has a 4th and 1. Mond reaches the football. Damone Clark knocks it loose. Beautiful play. LSU recovers. First down, 54 yards to Terrace Marshall. Second down, looks like Kayshon Boutte has a touchdown. Goes to review. They overturn it. This is why I have said to anyone who will listen till I'm blue in the face, you've got to make officials available to the media after the game. Because officials are part of the game and they have to be held accountable. It is on a play that significant in a 10-0 ball game where you reverse the call on the field, which was touchdown. There has to be indisputable evidence. And Matt Austin, the rules expert, is on the broadcast saying that's going to stand. Well, if the rules expert is saying it's going to stand and the white hat on the field says no touchdown, obviously it was disputable. The fact that the only explanation we got was incomplete pass is completely unacceptable. And of course, on the next play was a deflected pass interception. That completely changes the entire complexity of the game. Special teams were awful. Cade York misses for the first time in his career inside of 40. Dwight McGlothern, even though you got Coy Moore running up yelling, get away, get away, get away. He lets the ball go off his shin. Great on the defense, stepping up, not allowing points there. On the first punt of the game, Zach Von Rosenberg, I don't know how he got it off, but avoided pressure, rolled to his left, and got a punt off. I mean, it was the things that where LSU had been good at times this year, they were awful on Saturday, and the one thing that had been awful all year, defense, was actually pretty good. The result ended up the same, though, with an LSU loss. I could point to Ed Orgeron's clock management again. A week ago, calling timeout after an incomplete pass in a red zone situation. He did it again. Back-to-back weeks, LSU's called a timeout with a dead ball. With the clock stopped, they've called a timeout. It just, the lack of game flow and management is so evident and apparent right now. It's very, very difficult to watch. And they wasted a timeout earlier in the half as well, and that affects your 2-minute offense. You can't run draws. It limits what you can do, and what you saw was 2 teams change possession 4 times in the final 2 minutes. LSU and A&M each had 2 possessions, 4 total in the final 2 minutes. When in the hell has that ever happened? I know the weather was bad, but the play on the field was worse. So LSU's 3-4. Ed Orgeron today was asked a bunch about culture and morale, and he sidestepped all of it. And I get it. It's game week, and you got Alabama, and it's difficult to have those conversations straight up right now on the Monday after a loss when you're facing the number 1 team in the country that's a 4-touchdown favorite. But this team has culture and morale issues. And it's not going to get fixed this year, but it better get fixed in this offseason. Because if not, every bit of goodwill they built up from that championship a year ago will have eroded. Good luck this week against Bama. Ooh, that is going to be hideous. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.